episode of my law class at Abdullahi Legal Academy. My name is Abdullahi at Bayero, Abdulrauf. On the episode of my law class today, I shall be explaining to you the privileges, the rights, and the advantages of a lawyer. In the previous lesson, I've explained how to become a lawyer and who is a lawyer. If you have not watched the previous videos, I will hold you to firstly go and watch the first and the second video before you can continue watching this one, because they can't do without each other. This video was recorded with the assistance of Abdulrauf Amsa, a 200 level law student at Bayero University, and Abdulsamad Olosun, also a 200 level law student at Bayero University. If this is your first time on this channel, I will hold you to subscribe to this channel and also press the notification button so that you will be personally notified whenever we release any other content. And also like and follow our Facebook page with our username, which is Abdullahi Legal Academy. Without any further hindrance, let's get into the lesson. Like I said earlier, I've explained who is a lawyer and those steps by which a person can take before a person can become a lawyer. In this episode, like I said earlier, I will be explaining what are those privileges that a lawyer will be enjoying immediately after his name has been enrolled in the role of a legal practitioner, and he has the right and entitlement to practice as a legal practitioner in Nigeria. The first of the privileges that a person will be enjoying immediately after he becomes a lawyer is the right of legal representation. What is the right of legal representation? According to Section 8 of the Legal Practitioner Act, after a lawyer has gone through all the procedures that is required of a patient to become a lawyer, the Act gives a lawyer what is called right of audience. What is right of audience? Right of audience is what a lawyer has that gives him the opportunity, that gives him the privilege, that gives him the right and entitlement to represent any client at any court of law in Nigeria. Let's take for instance now, I as a patient, I become a lawyer, and I've gone through all the processes of becoming a lawyer. I will be given the right of audience. This right of audience is what a lawyer will have that will make a judge to give him attentive ear whenever he have a case in front of any court in Nigeria. This is the first of the privileges that a patient will start to enjoy immediately after he becomes a lawyer. And let me take you into the Constitution. The Section 36, subsection 6 of the 1989 Constitution gives the right to anybody that has any criminal matter the right to hire the lawyer of his own choice. A patient that has followed all the due process has the right of audience in any court of law, and the client also have the right to hire any lawyer of his own choice to represent his interest or to defend him in any court of law in Nigeria whenever he has any matter in the court. And the most important thing to note under this privilege is that a person that is not a lawyer cannot enjoy this privilege. You cannot say because you know the law, you will now go to the court to go and represent anybody. If you do it under Section 22 of the Legal Practitioners Act, a gift has been prescribed for such a person, and it is 2 years imprisonment or the payment of fine. And this brought about the issue of a robot lawyer that was created in the US. And if such a robot lawyer is brought into Nigeria, can such a robot lawyer go into the court because it knows the law and start representing the client? If you watch the first and the second previous lessons, you would have understood all these things. I've written an article as to this effect, and the link to the article will be provided with a link attached to this video. The second privilege that a patient will be enjoying immediately after he becomes a lawyer is the enjoyment of using the title of a legal practitioner. If a person becomes a lawyer, he is entitled to be called or even call himself a legal practitioner. According to Rule 40 of the Rule of Professional Conduct 2007, the rules that regulate the conduct of legal practitioners in Nigeria, it gives the legal practitioners the right to use those titles that are ascribed to a lawyer. The titles like barrister and solicitor, barrister at law, attorney at law, and all other titles that are ascribed to lawyers only. And this also gives entitlement to lawyers to use all these titles and other titles attached or ascribed to their names whenever they write any book or an article online or anywhere their names are being mentioned. The third privilege that a lawyer will enjoy is the preparation of legal documents. What is a legal document? According to Rule 10, Sub-Rule 2 of the Rules of Professional Conduct, applications, instruments, agreements, deeds, letter, memoranda, legal opinion, and any other similar documents, according to Rule 10, Sub-Rule 2 of the Rules of Professional Conduct, 2007. All these documents can only be prepared by a legal practitioner. A legal practitioner is also a lawyer, as I've said in the previous lesson. If anybody other than a lawyer prepares any of these documents, such a document will be rendered null and void, have no effect. Let me tell you this: if anybody other than a lawyer prepares any of these legal documents, especially in respect of an immovable property, such a person will be liable to 2 years imprisonment, according to what is provided under Section 22 of the Legal Practitioner Act. You can even collect your money from the person that prepares your document for you. The fourth privilege is appointment as the Minister of Justice or Attorney General of the Federation or Commissioner of Justice or Attorney General of a state. No other person can become the Minister of Justice or the Commissioner of Justice other than a lawyer. This is what is obtained under Section 150 of the 1999 Constitution. It says that anybody that will be appointed as an Attorney General of the Federation must be a legal practitioner practicing for nothing less than 10 years before the appointment. It means that a doctor, a teacher, an engineer, or any person from other profession cannot become an Attorney General of the Federation or of the state. That of Commissioner of a state can be obtained under Section 195 of the 1999 Constitution. It says that an Attorney General of a state or a Commissioner of a state can only be appointed among the legal practitioners. And such legal practitioner that will be so appointed must have been practicing the law for nothing less than 10 years before the appointment. This is one of the privileges that is specially prepared for a lawyer. Once you become a lawyer, you will be entitled, you have the privilege to be appointed as the Attorney General of the state or the Attorney General of the Federation. If you are not a lawyer, you cannot be so appointed. You cannot be so appointed. This is different from other ministries, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education. Any other person apart from the expert on that field can be so appointed in those ministries. But the Ministry of Justice, becoming Attorney General of the state or of the Federation, you must be a lawyer. The fifth privilege that a lawyer will enjoy immediately after such a person becomes a lawyer is the appointment as a judicial officer. Judicial officer, according to Section 318 of the Constitution, are the judges of the High Court, the judges of the Federal High Court, the justices of the Court of Appeal, the justices of the Sharia Court of Appeal, the justices of the Customary Court of Appeal, the justices of the Supreme Court. All these judges and justices that I've just mentioned, they are from the Superior Court of Record. Immediately after a person has been appointed as the judge of High Court or Federal High Court or Federal High Court or High Court of the Federal Capital Territory or the Customary Court of Appeal or the Sharia Court of Appeal or the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court of Nigeria, such a person has become a judicial officer. And only a lawyer can become a judicial officer. The person that can be so appointed must be a legal practitioner. Let's take for instance now, according to Section 231 of the 1999 Constitution, it says that a person that will be appointed as a justice of the Supreme Court must be a legal practitioner and must have practiced the law for nothing less than 15 years before it can be so appointed. If a person will become a justice of the Court of Appeal, such a person must have practiced law for nothing less than 12 years before he can be so appointed. But the appointment of judge of the High Court, justice of the Sharia Court of Appeal, the justice of the Customary Court of Appeal, they must have practiced law for nothing less than 10 years. Just the difference of 3 years and 2 years. 3 years between Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, and 2 years between the Court of Appeal and the Court of Coordinate Jurisdictions. Another privilege that a lawyer will enjoy immediately after he becomes a lawyer is becoming a notary public. only a legal practitioner can become a notary public, and such a legal practitioner must have practiced law for nothing less than 7 years and must have also paid his practicing fee for nothing less than 7 years consecutively immediately after he has been called to the bar. Now, another privilege that a person that becomes a lawyer can enjoy is that of statutory declaration of certificate of compliance. Every company in Nigeria, before the company is approved by the Corporate Affairs Commission, such a company must tender a certificate certifying that it has complied with all the rules and regulations that must be followed before such a company can be established. And only a lawyer can prepare such a certificate for such a company. This is one of the privileges that a lawyer can enjoy immediately after such a person becomes a lawyer. And this brings us to the end of this lesson. Do not forget that you are on another episode of my law class at Abdullahi Legal Academy, and my name is Abdullahi Abdulrauf. If this is your first time on this channel, like I said earlier when I was starting this lesson, please subscribe to this channel and also press the notification button so that whenever we release any other content that will be beneficial to you, you will be one of those that will be personally notified. And please like, comment on this video and share this video. Till another time that you and I shall be meeting on another episode of my law class, where you and I shall be getting some hints of the law. I wish you a wonderful legal day ahead.